1. We're live.
Welcome, everybody, to This Is Difficult, the podcast. Greatest video game podcast ever. We'll leave it
Definitely.
at
that.
Ever? Where greatest podcast? Welcome, everybody. I am your co-host, Lord Yeshua. It is Josh in the flesh. Yes, we're on Ryugami-san's channel. There's Paul over there. Yahoo! Everyone cheers. And there's Zach. It's another letdown. And we are This Is Difficult, here to bring you entertainment and random video game knowledge and such. Pass it off to Paul, who's going to guide us through this journey. Yahoo.
Well, as per usual, did you guys have an excellent week?
What a
Play
week
video
it was.
games? What?
Video games, work.
Video games, work.
life.
Josh, what'd you do this week, man? How was it?
Got a new job, so that's good. So
Uh-huh.
life has been good.
Very cool.
It's really good, getting tons of hours, and it's it's pretty chill. So it's better than the old one. Very relaxing.
Excellent. Same industry?
Aside from that, same industry. Yep. Sales.
Cool.
So it's definitely it's good. It's good, and it's very relaxing. Gives me free time.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Free
and
time is
so yeah, and I've been gaming a lot. Me and Colin a little, me solo a little. So let's see what happened. I'll go through them quickly. So Toad Treasure Trackers was free this week and still is for everyone who has a Switch Online membership. It's really good. It's not free to own. You can only play it until the 6th. So play it now.
Really?
And it's really short, so just play it. Just do it.
Boo.
So it's really fucking short, and there's like chapter 1, chapter 2, and then I was like, wait, was chapter 2 like DLC? Because chapter 1 felt like an entire game, but like super short, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then it was like also chapter 2, and it just like appeared, and I was like, feels like that was DLC because they made the game too short. So anyway, I don't know. So I haven't beat it yet. It's pretty fun, actually. It's a fun Mario type puzzle game. Sky, me and Colin played Sky. The ending is crazy, and like fucking, I don't know who designed it, but not forgiving. I don't know how to explain it. You sacrifice yourself for the ending, let's
wow.
say. Yeah, and there's a new game plus for sure, but you sacrifice almost everything to get to it. And it's literally like, Jesus Christ, that's brutal as fuck, I think. Like, it's a really cool ending, but like knowing that, I'm probably not gonna do it again. There is a new season every
Well, so much for This Is Difficult
So much
versus
for
Sky.
No. There's a new season every month.
Oh,
okay.
The new season started already. So, but you can play through all the levels regardless. Like me and Colin started playing through the original missions again and immediately found a new area we had never been to before. And we're
nice.
lost in a massive area. We were like, what the, didn't even see this on our first playthrough, possibly opening new areas on New Game Plus. But season 2 comes out and it's probably a new ending. So that keeps you beating the game probably. So like you're not wanting to go beat it again, but like now there's a new final area probably. It's like new areas. It seems like this game could be procedurally generated. Like I don't know how to explain it, but like it could be, but like it's not. It's a really fucking good game. You guys need to get on it.
I'm downloading it right now.
Okay, good. Me and Colin, if you're
I forgot to do it
Colin,
last week.
season 6 came out. We should play that. So yeah, I don't know if you heard me, but not season 6. The next season came out. I don't know why I said season 6. And then the last thing is I've been working on designing my own video game. I was just telling them before. So this is the big one. Wahoo! It's so fun. And I have a lot of details that I'm probably not going to unveil yet. Maybe should I not, or should I? I don't know. I have a lot.
Because, like, until you're ready to
keep it close to the vest.
it,
I think
you don't want someone to accidentally
True. But I have a lot. I have the name. I have our development company's name as well.
Let's do the name. Give us the name.
The name of the game?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. The game is called Meander, and it's going to be a side-scrolling platforming adventure. The game can be played like an adventure, like Donkey Kong, Smell the Roses, and there's side quests and all types of stuff that I'll get into later. But it can also be speedrun incredibly, and your main character is extremely athletic, and it's going to be precise, acrobatic platforming. It's going to feel really fucking good. It's going to feel like you smashed Mario, Samus from Metroid Dread, Donkey Kong, and like Girl from Celeste all into one character. Like that's what I want it to feel like with like perfect everything. So that's my goal here.
That is a lot. So it's going to be a platformer?
I know. It's going to be a side-scrolling platformer. So the whole point, like the first thing is like that happens is the main character is like laying down his armor literally to the left, and then he turns right, and then like he starts a new life basically and a new journey, and like never turns left again. And the whole game is a side-scrolling platformer, just like going that way basically.
That's sick.
And so
he's
it's
definitely
gonna be really
not a NASCAR driver.
No, it's gonna be. He's definitely a warrior.
Or Zoolander.
There's a no. So
You
the
can't
game
do
is
Blue
called
Steel.
Meander. And so the whole point is, it's like, yeah, look up the word. I don't know. I thought it fit perfectly, the exact definition, but it's basically just like walking along.
It sounds cool.
That
Yeah,
sounds
it's going to be
dope.
really cool. We're an indie studio now, so watch out. And the studio is going to be called Pixel Pants Studios. I've already decided.
I love it.
Anyone want to mock us up a thing? They can. I'm probably going to whip up a shitty mock-up for the design studio. And so I'm going to slowly build a team. It's going to be like Deadpool, and hopefully not Deadpool 2. Never mind. I feel like I forgot everyone dies in that. It's going to be more like X-Men. Let's go like that. Okay. Bunch of misfits. And so anyway, we're going to build a ragtag team. Very excited about this project. I've got a lot of the skeleton done already. So
cool.
We're going to start development as soon as I learn how to code a little better. But we're getting there. It's going to be a few-year project probably. But like, definitely starting development now just by getting it started. And that's it for me. I forgot I also played Deltarune, which is also a free game on the Switch and the PC. It is this. It's a opt-off. It's like a spin-off. That's the word. It's a spin-off to Undertale. So it takes place in a similar world to Undertale. A lot of mirrored characters and a lot of characters that are the same, and like similarities and shout-outs and Easter eggs and stuff like that. And dialogue similarities, but not the same world or anything like that. So it's just a totally new story. First 2 chapters are on the Switch, and I believe there are going to be 3 chapters total. And it's free. You should play that game. It's really good. It's a lot more of a old school RPG for use to that, but it's still very subversive in dialogue and story. Are you downloading that too? You should download that right now.
No, I was actually going to check our sound because no one's reported anything in chat.
Because no one's here.
Yeah.
Well, we're at least having a good time. But anyway, I hosted us. What the heck? No one watches me anymore. It's okay. I understand. But yeah, anyway, so pass it off. What did someone else do this week? That's my week. Did good.
All right. Well, Paul seems to be otherwise occupied, so I'll jump in. My week wasn't super like diverse in terms of gaming, but good quality hours logged. I continued through my playthrough of Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered, and that has been a wonderful experience. The story is continuing to be tremendously good. Just got through a couple of like stereotypically Spider-Man comics boss fights where he's got not one but 2 powered villains coming at him at the same time. And there's a great shot in the Vulture fight, which is literally like it's a quick time event, but it for any comic book fan, it's just this giant fan service moment. You actually get to see the cover art for the very first appearance of the Vulture.
That's badass.
I was like, I of course I was live doing it. And I'm like, oh my god, that's literally the first appearance of Vulture right there. I tried to pause and I couldn't quite get there, but it was a really cool moment. And the fight with Rhino and Scorpion was also extremely fun and quite challenging, I might add. Not maybe as challenging as like the Taskmaster fight, which was absolutely brutal, as you would expect, but it was still very well done. And then beyond that, and I'll be reviewing this shortly. I finished Metroid Fusion.
Oh yeah, what a good game!
Oh my god,
such a
that
good game
is so good.
Probably should have put him last so we could just.
Well, I was checking the audio and stuff. It's fine.
No, it's fine. But believe me, having played that after Dread, I have a lot of thoughts.
Yeah,
interesting.
I did the same thing, and
okay.
I was like, I was kind of blown away by how well they kind of tie together, and you're going to get into that more, I'm sure.
I will definitely get into that.
Yeah, interesting.
But Paul, what did you play?
I just played a little bit more Dark Souls on stream, and then also I've been playing on Samurai Saturday. We started not this week, but last week we started doing Okami, which the more I play that game, the more I'm like, this is just a Zelda game. It even has like its own version of the like that tone, that classic Zelda tone when you like open a chest or a door or whatever, like the do 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 do, like
Oh wow, that's funny.
it's even got its own version of that, and it's just very, very Zelda-esque in a good way. Like it's such a fun, refreshing game. It's pretty laid back.
Being Zelda-esque in a bad way. Come on.
You can be Zelda-esque in a bad way.
Zelda in essence is good.
I'm not going to name the game that shall not be named because we talked about it.
It doesn't go far into Zelda.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Zelda-esque. Yeah, fair enough. But it doesn't feel like a straight rip off of Zelda. But it borrows all the right elements, and it's aesthetically really cool. The one complaint I have about it so far, and maybe this is because I've been playing so many Souls games lately, is that the combat is ridiculously easy. Like it feels so easy, and I'm early in the game still. I'm sure it will get spiced up as I go through, but as of right now, it is so fucking easy that
how far in are you? Like 4 hours? The game's only
about 5 hours, I think.
It's like 20 hours long. I mean, you're gonna become a god. Don't forget. So like.
Yeah, well, I mean, you start out as a god technically, but you're just like regaining all of
game wise, you're gonna become badass.
Yeah,
so, like,
but it's very, very easy right now. Which is it's not necessarily a disappointment. It honestly makes for great streaming content because I can, be present in my stream without having to like really be sweating in this video game. So that's cool. But I would say that's probably my only one complaint about the game so far, and wouldn't even say that's necessarily a complaint. It's just, I would expect a little better, but yeah, it's cool. It's very cool. And I'm enjoying the hell out of that. So that's pretty much all I played this week. I've had a fucking busy week, man. So,
I mean, life kind of got in all sorts of in the way. This week for me too. Now, do we want to talk briefly before I get into my review about the decisions being made by Sony and Microsoft right now?
We can mention it. I mean, I don't think it's necessarily that big a deal. I think it's just a really poor choice by Sony. What did they do?
I didn't hear.
So essentially what's happening right now is
live reaction here to whatever news this is.
The both of these companies took the kind of chip shortage issue and approached it in very different ways. Microsoft shut down all production of previous gen consoles to focus on putting out next gen consoles.
Making them extremely valuable.
And this was announced a long time ago.
Yeah. But just recently, Sony came out and was like, hey, we're having trouble getting out next gen consoles, so we're going to start production of PS4s again. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, first you don't commit to your next gen games and potentially really limit
you're saying we're hitting a cap? Are we hitting a cap in the industry?
That's what I'm wondering, Josh.
What is that? Insane?
Just think about the games that the three of us have been playing lately.
Oh fuck!
Dude.
Games are literally like,
it's the peak. It's the pinnacle.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're kind of hitting a peak.
We've been playing.
Not saying it's gonna go down, but like we might be peaking. Shit.
Because of the
like a plateau rather than a drop off.
Yeah, it might be like this.
Yeah.
And
until we can figure out this chip shortage, I think we have no choice, right? But
Nintendo reigns supreme in this era, and a 10-year Switch cycle begins.
Well,
let's go.
Maybe here's the problem though. They're still technologically behind the PS4.
But even still, their type of games would like be longer lasting and more appealing. I feel like if nothing else could age either, because the whole perk of the other guys is that they can rapidly advance. Everything is like new and flashy, and every game like looks and feels better. And it's just like, you know what I mean? That's what like the PC and the PS5 especially boast. And like, you know what I mean? Come on. So Nintendo, it's just like their game quality is just like there, and I don't know. I'm just always a fanboy for them. I just feel like if no one could advance, then Nintendo would shine because the others wouldn't be able to like surpass them.
Because they don't have to. Exactly.
Nintendo's like, sweet, we're all the same playing field for a while.
I kind of agree with that, but I still think Nintendo's behind the ball in technology.
Slightly.
Like Sony still has enough surplus
like
stuff to make their previous gen console, and their previous gen console is still more powerful than Nintendo's current gen console. So so even though they're taking a step backwards, they're still producing a product that is technically superior to.
No, power doesn't make it superior.
The word technically
game quality makes it superior. I would argue the quality of
correct,
game.
Josh, but he used the word technically.
I know
in that meaning technologically.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Technically superior.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So I do think that Nintendo has hit their wall for what they're able to produce on the.
Right now, they're not able to make another thing. Yeah.
Right. And so for them to try and put out a next gen console right now would be a disaster because they just can't produce them. So
I think the OLED is probably going to phase out the OG Switch, and we're probably going to see just the OLED and the Lite soon.
Right, which is
they're probably using a ton of chips, even having 3 consoles.
Yeah, and they're using older chips, which, there's probably still a little bit of a surplus of those, so they're able to produce some. But they're, one of the biggest complaints that I've been seeing online in regards to the new Pokemon game, Arceus, is that it just looks bad. Like it looks
empty. I don't care how it looks. I don't see anything in the game.
Well, so what I'm saying is this is a technical limitation.
Pokemon will never look better for now.
And if they were able to produce a new console, or even a console that was as powerful as the PS4, they'd be able to produce a game that looks better and is more full.
I don't know. I still think like Mario Odyssey and shit like looks just as good in different ways.
Yeah, but those are also Mario Odyssey's broken up into smaller chunks, so they're able to put more power into one specific thing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like if you're making a big open world game like Arceus, it's impossible for them to do that.
True. It kind of just looks like a dead world.
World games.
It looks like a Breath of the Wild with no life and you can't climb anything.
Yeah. Anyway, I think
you guys gonna get that?
People are making. We'll see. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's a good concept, and it's still very early in development. I guess not. It's coming out this year.
No, it's coming out at the end of this month.
Oh, fuck.
It's coming out in a week and a half, bro.
It's going to be shit.
This is how much we know. Exactly. And you're like riding Gyarados. You're like walking along a path. And I'm like, how much traveling is this game? And like what else is in it?
Yeah.
No thanks.
Anything? Like, what else is this game?
We'll see.
Thanks.
I don't know.
A bunch of different landscapes and towns. And it's just Pokemon.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
It might just be Pokemon with more travel.
Yeah.
That's
agreed. But where are we now?
Well, let's jump in the review. I mean, is there anything else you guys want to say about that? I think Sony is making a mistake that not committing to their next gen. Like they first kind of pulled back on their games and now they're pulling back on their consoles. I think they need to really just drop everything previous gen and push forward regardless of the situation. I think there's still more PS5s out there than there are Xboxes like in consumers' hands.
Weird,
so
I mean, look at Nintendo. They dropped the 3DS because they know the Switch is what they want to put all their focus in.
Makes sense.
I don't know. That doesn't make any sense making an older gen, giving them the option to buy a cheaper console. They may not sell PS5s.
Yeah.
Or maybe technologically, they realize they're hitting a wall.
Yeah.
And they're like, we want to be able to coincide drops on the PS4 and PS5 all the way through the life of the PS5.
That's kind of what they're doing, but they should have done something like what Xbox did, which is they released the Xbox Series S and the Series X. So you have a console that's technologically superior to their previous generation, but not as powerful as their flagship device, that they can produce cheaply, and they can produce more of them and get them out in people's hands, and they're still more capable than the previous generation, but with some limitations. And for most people, like, a lot of people aren't necessarily concerned with like 4K gaming, and they can still get the same quality of gameplay and quick load times and things like that out of a slightly underpowered console that's still more powerful than the last gen. And that's what PlayStation should have done too, So anywho, let's jump into the review. You ready?
Yeah.
You ready? All right. Hopefully we have sound. Because it's going to be real bad if we can't hear Josh. In fact, you go ahead and start talking. What? Oh, shoot. I'm an idiot.
Has anyone else ever done a Nintendo review but me?
There we go. Gosh.
Probably, right?
Wow, real dumb. Man, this podcast is a mess.
What did you just do? Took us to Discord?
Yeah, I took us to Discord because I'm real dumb. Hopefully there wasn't anything terrible on screen.
People chat.
I'm going to mute myself real quick, and you guys talk, and I'm just going to confirm whether or not we have audio in the stream. So.
What a good game. Damn. We're fine. Blink says we have audio.
Yeah, we're good.
Yes. Great game. What? Fuck.
Not Zach? You're kidding me? Okay, give me just a second. Give me just a second.
Keep going. I'm almost done. I'm just kidding. I'm here all night. Dun, 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 dun. Is there a desync? Can sync if it wants. I heard Josh, but Zach's lips were moving. Lol. Well, can you hear Zach now? True. He probably would have heard you by now, though, and been like, oh, never mind. I could hear Zach. Oop.
Wait, really? Wait, what? Oh, yeah. Oh, he would have said that. Yes. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Can we hear him now?
Can you hear me now?
What did you just do? You switched something to like OBS.
Yeah, I gotta.
What are we doing to ourselves?
Yeah, okay, you can hear me allegedly.
Okay, cool. Well, you don't have a green screen right now, but
there you go. I'll do the review.
I'll do the review. I can get that fixed, but
it's Mario, but with guns. I'm just kidding.
Mario.
Yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead and start your review. I'm gonna get you fixed up. While you do it.
Yes, I will. I will do the review. Okay, so I played Metroid Fusion. It was developed by Nintendo R&D 1 for a November 17th, 2002 release date on the Game Boy Advance. I played it on the Game Boy Advance, kind of, but I played it on GBA via Retron 5. So I had a bunch of upscaling on, smoothing and stuff. Really made it look pretty. And not that it didn't already, because it's honestly, it might be the most beautiful 2D, other than Dread. It might be the most beautiful 2D.
Yeah, other than Dread. Are you fucking crazy?
I mean, just Dread's on another level. Like, of the classic, pixel art Metroid games.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I think it's the prettiest. I actually have a student right now who's doing pixel art replication. That's the project we're doing in 5th grade.
Oh, wow.
And he's done NES Samus, Super Metroid Samus, and Fusion Samus. And he was commenting as he walked out of the classroom on Thursday. He was like, I think this is the nicest looking Samus. I think this is the best looking one.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Well, I don't know. Here's the thing. So obviously Dread looks the best, but
yeah.
I really think that Super Metroid has like almost flawless pixel art, especially for its
Nintendo, this
time,
looks
but it's
good,
kind of
yeah.
a timeless thing. And
Right.
while Fusion looks incredible, there's not as many pixels
Exactly.
to be able to produce that beautiful of art. So certainly for what it has, I think, yes, it's the best looking Samus. But when you compare them side by side and you just have so many more pixels on the Super Nintendo, you know,
Yeah.
it's
But you got to compare, like, the backgrounds are better
Mhm.
in Fusion. They're more fleshed out.
Mhm.
The doors look more like doors. Just things look better in general.
Mhm.
So that's one of the big things I like about the game is what they did within their own limitations of the Game Boy platform. Additionally, like, the narrative is so much clearer in this game, and really, like, this is the first time we see a Metroid game intending to be uh, like
Scary.
a larger ongoing story and scary.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The
Probably the
honestly,
scariest one.
I still say
Yeah.
this game does Dread way better than Dread did.
well, it does suspense better, certainly.
Yeah.
I think Dread tried to slipstream in a few too many frightening elements between the sort of almost surprising boss fights, the just like general feeling of um, disorientation, and the Emmys, certainly. The
Mhm.
Emmys, as Paul and I said, eventually kind of just got to be a nuisance.
Yeah.
They weren't particularly frightening. It was just the same thing. The Chozo, same thing, just a nuisance. The bosses were really good in Dread, but I think they were that much better in Fusion.
Yeah.
There was a lot of very specific tactical stuff that you had to do. There were a couple of boss fights, especially toward the end, where you could stand in a very specific place and be basically functionally invulnerable.
Yeah. The
there was
bosses
one fight-
also don't rely on cheap mechanics to get you through them.
Right. It's all pattern based. It's pattern recognition. It's
Mhm.
what you would expect from a classic Nintendo game.
Mhm.
And that's in general, not just a Metroid game. Anybody who's played Mario or Zelda from that era has the pattern recognition skills that are required to be successful at Metroid Fusion.
Yeah.
Even a Mega Man game of that generation, you look at Zero, which came out right around the same time. It's the same sort of boss fight idea.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
you're locked in a room. The boss is bouncing all over the place. If there's platforms in the way, fine. Otherwise, you're just avoiding environmental hazards and boss attacks. So it very much speaks to a Mega Man mentality.
Mhm.
So that's what I liked about the game. What I didn't like about the game is there were a couple of narrative scenes that were just a little bit slow.
Yeah.
It seemed, and they were trying to spoon feed you a little too much at the same time. Some of the dialogue could be a little heavy-handed. There was a lot of, like, the backtracking was very linear. It was just kind of up and down one hallway, and there was no threat within that hallway. It was just like, oh, now you have to run to Sector 5. Now you have to run across the map to Sector 3. Okay, fine. So that was just a little, it kind of dragged a little bit. The combat was fine. The sound effects were fine. Most of this game was just great and fine and unoffensive, but there were just a couple of bits that were a little bit blah.
Sure.
I guess. The story was possibly, like I said, possibly the most information we've ever got about the Metroid franchise in a single game. Like, Dread is very confined to the Dread story. It does reach back and reference Fusion a lot.
It also ties a lot of things together.
Yes.
You know, like, that's, I think, what Dread does best is it really ties everything together in the end.
Right. And Fusion can kind of operate on its own, really. It summarizes a little bit of what's happened before then, but you don't really see a whole lot of connection to Super or Metroid or Samus Returns. It's just like, oh yeah, these are some things that happened. Here's the thing that we're doing now. You do get the Neo Ridley fight, which does call back Super Metroid and Metroid. for that matter. But there's no like the baby Metroid doesn't really come into play. The space pirates do, but like this is the first time they were kind of front and center. So
baby Metroid dead?
Yes.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
It is. But like
you absorb it.
You'd think she'd call that back on more than just a cutscene at the very beginning.
Yeah.
I think that you're able to absorb the X because you absorb the Metroid.
The baby Metroid. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But it's like
you're right.
Whatever.
I think they also referenced the animals that you save in Super Metroid too.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, they definitely don't mention her bloodline until Dread again, though.
Correct.
Metroid Zero Mission does.
Yeah, Zero.
Well, that's Metroid 1.
Yeah, but they don't do that in Metroid 1. In Zero Mission, they go back and fill in some of that information.
Just chronologically, though, I mean.
Sure, yeah.
That said, the story was extremely compelling, and especially having played it after Dread. Now, this is where Paul and I are going to kind of go off on a conspiracy rant for a minute.
Whoa,
because we were talking about this off air. At the end of the game, you realize that Adam, your ADAM, your onboard computer, is not behaving entirely correctly. Samus makes note of the fact that this is not how Adam would behave. This is not how this thing is supposed to be operating. And I messaged Paul and a couple other people, and I was like, "Yo, was Ravenbeak pulling the strings all the way back in Fusion?"
Yes,
I really think he was.
It certainly implies that in Dread, and that's actually one of the things that bothered me at the beginning of Dread, was that Adam before was like so reminiscent of her commander or whatever, right?
Yeah.
That's dead or whatever the shit, and like she kind of relates with him, and it definitely has a very human personality. And in Dread, it felt very robotic, right? But I mean, you later find out why that is, because it's not that Adam.
Well, not only that, it was a new facility also, so it could just be a new interface, like comm system. That's the other could just been like because they're in a new area. He just did what he worked with. I don't know.
But I was just like, the more I read the communications with Adam, the computer, I was like, this seems
not your brother.
Like very contrived, very fabricated. I'm like, and like about halfway through the game, I'm like, is this just Ravenbeak? And we just don't know it yet because that game isn't anywhere near being developed.
Incredible.
And I got out of Metroid Fusion and I'm like, no, I legitimately think Ravenbeak is pulling the strings here.
I think
so.
And
it makes sense.
The computer feeds you the information about the SAX exactly the same way he feeds the information about the EMI.
Right. Well, and his goal was to get control of that technology anyway.
Exactly.
So, yes.
So I was like, oh wow.
Even bigger reveal. Yeah.
One of the things that really bothered me about the gameplay was trying to recover hit points, like being used to Super Metroid and original Metroid.
Yeah.
Well, sure, but the pickups just were static. They would sit there and you jump and you get it. Yeah. Trying to collect the X.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Such a nuisance, and like
because if you're not fast enough, it will fly away and turn into a.
Well, you're also used to Dread, which just absorbs.
I like that. I actually like that in this
game. Dread, it literally just flies.
I used to it; it was fine. But having just like the most recent Metroid game that I played was Super, and I'm just used to the pickups just sitting there.
Yeah.
So I was like, "Oh, this is frustrating."
Did you absorb them too with the charge beam?
That's
what happens in.
I don't remember.
Maybe I'm just insane, but like, I don't know. I only started using the charge beam. I started using the charge beam like way too late. I should have been using it.
I don't think you can absorb them with the charge beam.
That's Metroid Prime, but I forgot if it was also used in like Super.
Oh, okay. It's a Prime. Well, if it's a Prime thing that does line up, they might
could be in that. That's why I'm like, is it in the others too?
In fact, the two synchronize. I would love to see how that works.
They do synchronize. Yeah, I did that when I had Fusion back in the day before it all got fucking stolen. You unlock like a Fusion suit, and it's really dope.
Yeah,
that is really cool.
Actually, you also unlock the original Metroid, if I'm not mistaken. You can play that, and that's how I first played that game. Was on Metroid Prime. There's like an art gallery also and some other shit.
Yep.
They like really rewarded you for having both games. Yeah. At least on my end. I don't know about your
Yeah.
end. Fusion. I never like, I don't know.
The art, as I said, is absolutely top notch. Everything for considering the technological limitations of the Game Boy Advance, that art could not possibly be better. I don't think
It's amazing.
it is so beautiful, and playing it on the big TV, all up-resed and beautified by the Retron, just made it that much better. Like I sat down, fired up the opening intro screen, the press start screen, and I immediately like, oh my god, I got to take a picture of this and send it to the guys because Paul was incredibly jealous.
I was.
Yeah,
I still
it was
am.
so good.
Yeah, this is my favorite Metroid game, and so to be able to play it like that is too cool.
Yeah.
You know what? I can play it like that though, because I have this on, the Wii U. I just don't have that hooked up right now.
That was the best eShop, I think.
It did have the
yeah.
best eShop. Yeah.
But
Wii U. Yeah.
no, I will say about the Wii U. I mean, I suppose you can use the classic controller for the Wii, but actually being able to sit here with a wired Super Nintendo controller, which is my favorite controller, well documented, and play such a great Metroid game was something else.
Yeah.
The music was awesome. Like, it's very subtle. It doesn't get stuck in your head, but it definitely plays on the classic Metroid themes, and you noticeably feel more suspense when the game wants you to feel suspense. You feel less suspense when you're just wandering around collecting stuff. The musical cues are absolutely spot on. They did a really awesome job with that. Same with the sound design. It's all basically perfect. And again, playing it through the speakers or my headset or whatever I happened to be using at the time really made that a lot better than just playing it out of the tiny Game Boy speakers. How long did it take me? Really not that long. I think total gameplay was like, I think it said, actually, no, hold on. I have this written down. It took me.
I'm going to find out what my dog's barking at. Continue.
Yep. It took me 5 hours and 16 minutes.
Damn, that's nothing.
Really not that long. It's pretty quick. And yeah, that's, was it difficult? I mean, it's Metroid. Yes, it's a little difficult, but it does. This is the first one where the game starts to tell you, it starts to like give you environmental cues as to what to shoot, what, whether or not you can advance or go back. So I think in that sense, it was a little bit less difficult than Super, for example. You get trapped in a room, you're like, okay, now I need to just blast the bejesus out of everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
And once you get the power bomb, you're just like, okay, I entered a new room. I'm going to power bomb the hell out of it, and we'll see where we need to go from here. Bombing things specifically would reveal your path almost every single time. Would I play a sequel? I already did.
We already did.
Overall rating and impression. Let's see. I gave Dread, what did I say? An 8.7.
Wow, that's weak.
This one is better.
I think that's a really fair score for Dread.
Yeah. This one is better than Dread. I think this is like a 9.1.
Yeah.
9.1.
This is my favorite Metroid game.
I gave Dread a 9.5, I think.
Yes, you did. I did look at, so my mom actually found my cartridge in the attic, and that's how I ended up with it. I was about to order it for $100 on eBay. Glad I didn't have to do that, but I would have. I would absolutely have done that.
I've thought about doing it because I know I have it like on flashcards and stuff, but I used to have this game and I freaking loved it, and it'd be worth having again,
Yeah, I've started doing this thing where any Game Boy games that are relevant for a series, I'll start putting inside the Switch case. So like all my Mega Man Zero games are inside the Mega Man Zero case. And I definitely put the Fusion cartridge right in the Dread case, the Steelbook, because it has earned its place in my video game Hall of Fame. Absolutely 100%. And this is the first time I've played it all the way through myself. So I felt a good sense of accomplishment when I finished it.
Dude, I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, me too.
It's such a good game. And you were talking, sorry, I had to run away because my dog was barking at literally nothing. But
usual.
But you were talking about the music, and the music, like you said, I think it's like perfect for a Metroid game. It's one of the things that I didn't like about Dread, is that in Dread, it's too busy all of the time.
Right.
And I think that's kind of a theme throughout the entire game that like made it feel less like a Metroid game to me than previous installations, because one of the things that I think is great about the older Metroid games is the subtlety of everything.
Yes, exactly.
So,
and I think it toes right up against that line. I think it is right. It is absolutely perfect in terms of what it gives you both visually and auditorially.
Yeah.
The fact that it actually has backgrounds where original Metroid 2 and Super Metroid don't, that it's just kind of black in the background, or it's solid color. Fusion does a really good job where the backgrounds don't distract you, but they are definitely there, and they're definitely worth taking note of. Especially the underwater segments really feel like you're underwater for the first time in the franchise.
The one thing about Fusion that I don't particularly care, it doesn't bother me a ton, but like, because you're in a space station rather than on a planet, things feel a little more confined.
Yep.
But and less mysterious in some ways. But I still think this game pulls that off very well. So
yeah, while you were away, Paul, I mentioned this is the first time in the franchise we actually get a little bit of railroading, and environmental cues.
Yeah.
And I really do think a quality Metroidvania does give you some level of, I don't know if obviousness is a word, but like some level of guidance, some level of environmental guidance to help you out and to help you not feel stuck.
Right.
There was never in Fusion and in Dread, there was never a time where I was like, nope, I am completely stuck. I actually don't know where to go from here. Right. I was able to figure it out almost every single time.
Almost too much in both of the games, I think, for me personally. But yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Right on. Is that all we got?
So good.
It is.
So good.
It is. Yeah. All right, let's switch back and let's talk about video game generation some more. Boom, boom, boom. Let's wait until Josh pops back in. There we go. Yep. So, continuing our series on the different console generations, we're moving into what's technically the third generation, but in my mind, it's the second generation. So instead of like giving it a name as far as like a number is concerned, I just call this generation the generation that saved video games.
Yep. Quack. How about Eric?
Oh man. All right. Anyway, so essentially last time we talked about the kind of the first and second generation of gaming and how Atari was kind of the main culprit, but in general, the market had become way oversaturated with not only consoles but also just kind of shitty games. Like they were just putting out, like they knew video games were a potential goldmine, and so they're just cranking them out as fast as they possibly can, with little regard for quality. And so, you know, people didn't really know what they were getting and often would, you know, buy lemons, just buy crap games. And then, you know, they started really losing interest in gaming. And this started the video game crash, right? In the early 80s, the North American video game crash. Now, it should be noted that video games weren't dying everywhere, particularly in Japan. They were still thriving. Arcades were still thriving. But certainly in North America, we had a problem. And that's where Nintendo comes in, right? In 1983, Nintendo, they released the the Famicom, Family Computer is what that stands for, in Japan, and it's a hit and it's awesome. And they have like, it's kind of a weird looking console, and the controllers are permanently attached. They've got cables, but you can't unplug the cables, you know, and they hook into the sides. And it also was capable of playing, it played cartridges, but it also was capable of playing disk system, like almost like floppy disks. which were rewritable. In fact, you could go and take the discs to stores and have new games loaded onto them or enhancements added to the games, things like that. But they wanted to break into the North American market. And they actually, surprisingly enough, went to Atari to basically license their technology to Atari to release the system. But very quickly realized that Atari was not doing so hot, and
they were hardcore.
And it wasn't really a good situation for them. So they decided to create their own system for the North American market. And what they did was they remodeled the system, and they modeled it after kind of like popular appliances and electronics that, you know, were already in use in North America, like the Betamax and the VCR, which is why you have like this hatch that you can slide your console into. There's virtually no, or your cartridge into. There's virtually no friction. Pop it down like you would a VHS cassette and turn on your console and go to town. And this really, you know, they were able to kind of revitalize the video game market in North America with this console. Not only because of the design of the console, but the quality of the games. This is kind of the first time we saw games that were, you know, obviously there was better graphics visually, but we also had better sound chips. And we had games that weren't just kind of half-ass ports of arcade systems. So, you know, this really sparked a lot of interest in gaming again as a whole, and it kind of revolutionized it, which is kind of a big deal. So that came out in 83. The NES came out later that year in America. There were other consoles this generation. I don't know much about them personally. I do. Actually, one of the consoles is the Atari 7800, which was Atari's third gen console, which was backwards compatible for all Atari, but was able to play 8-bit graphics. So, you know, a lot of the cartridges looked a lot better, but they were still using the same sound chip as the original Atari 2600. So the sound just wasn't that great, as well as like the games were mostly just arcade ports. You know, they looked a little better than the previous generation, but they weren't really anything special compared to what Nintendo was doing.
Right.
Did you guys we'll talk about the other consoles in a second, but did you guys play other, you know, third gen consoles at all, like Master System or SG?
I think I've seen Master System Museum.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Like, I know that some of my Genesis carts work on a Master System. Like it says, but yeah, I don't think I ever actually played one.
Interesting.
Did you? I mean,
No.
Yeah.
I do know people that have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I do know people that have played. In fact, our friend Candace, her, I think, first video game console was a Master System.
Wow.
But that's about all I know about it. We'll just give a little bit of information on these other consoles. The SG 1000 was Sega's first third gen console, and that came out in 83 alongside the Super Nintendo, or sorry, the NES. And then later in the winter of 86 is when they launched the Master System. So Master System and Atari 2600 or 7800 for that matter both came out in 86. This is quite a bit after Nintendo already got this big head start in North America. As far as I know, Sega Master System was Nintendo's biggest competitor during this time.
Yeah, definitely.
I did bring up a list. Let me see if I can pull this up. Did I get rid of it? Am I an idiot? I might have. Oh yeah. Okay. I pulled up the top 10. I just searched best Master System games. So we'll just talk about a couple of these because I don't really know much about them. I will say that the Master System was backwards compatible to the SG-1000. So that's neat.
Also oddly considered a third generation console.
Yeah. Let's see. Number 15, we got California Games. This looks like it's got BMX, flying disc, footbag, half pipe, roller skating, and surfing. R-Type, Shinobi, Outrun.
There you go, Samurai Saturday stuff, Paul.
Yeah. Golden Axe Warrior, which this actually looks like a top-down, like a Zelda-like, which is different from what most people know Golden Axe from, which would be like a brawler. Yeah. Operation Wolf looks like a shooter, which this did come packaged with a light gun, so that would have been a game for that. The original Road Rash.
Oh wow.
Prince of Persia. Alex Kidd in the Miracle World. This was Alex Kidd in Miracle World was Sega's attempt to compete with Super Mario, which is yeah. Psycho. Yeah, this was pre-Sonic. Psycho Fox, Land of Illusion, starring Mickey Mouse. The Lucky Dime Caper, starring Donald Duck. Dude, you say that they might be great, honestly, because the Sega Genesis Disney games are actually rad. They're really good. A game called Asterix, which is
Asterix. That's a French game. That's a French cartoon character.
Yeah. He kind of looks like a little Viking dude.
Yep.
The original Sonic the Hedgehog, which is this is an 8-bit Sonic, which is wild. The original Phantasy Star as well. So I mean, there's actually some bangers in this list.
Yeah.
These are games that they don't suck. And I'll post the link in chat if you guys want to look at some of these games. Graphically, they look really good compared to NES as well. One of the questions that I was going to ask, I mean, the first thing I was going to ask was, have you played other Gen 3 consoles / games other than the NES?
Well, so now that you mentioned Asterix and Sonic and what are you laughing at, Josh? Yes, I'm French.
It's a beautiful pronunciation. I like it.
I do speak French, so that's not surprising. But and some of those early Disney games, I'm like, maybe I have played one or two of those.
So I've played versions of these games on the Genesis.
Yeah.
I have not played the original Master System versions.
Well, interestingly, like my Sonic cartridge, it's somewhere behind. I think it's in a box behind me. Otherwise, I'd grab it. But it says compatible with the Master System.
My Sonic 1.
So I'm wondering if maybe that is.
And it just had like a slight graphical
bump
boost
on from the Genesis.
That's interesting.
I'll have to look into that. Actually, if you guys keep talking, I'll duck behind the curtain and grab it.
Yeah, go ahead and look into that. I got nothing to say. So since none of us other than potentially Zach have much experience with these other ones, what was your and I'll ask Zach this when he gets back too, but what's your like first Gen 3 memory? Like what's your first memory of like, let's say Nintendo NES? Yeah. RBI Baseball, that's a deep cut, Blink. I played that game. No sound from Josh all of a sudden? No, I can hear you. Apparently Stream can't hear you, which is bizarre because there wasn't a problem with your audio earlier.
And I was wrong about
all right, my Sonic. Let me see if I can fix Josh real quick. God damn it. We might have to find a different solution than OBS Ninja if this keeps happening. Hang on. Yeah. Hang on.
I was wrong about my Genesis card. It is just Genesis, but I swear I've seen something Master System on a Sonic cartridge.
Interesting. I was asking Josh this, but apparently he's got no audio. So I'll ask you this while I try and fix audio. But what's your first like Gen 3 memory?
Oh wow, that would probably have to be. No, I know exactly what it was. It's Duck Hunt.
Duck Hunt.
Yep, my buddy Bruce, growing up, had an NES, and I was fascinated by the light gun because you could point this plastic thing at the screen, make a ka-chunk noise with the trigger, and it would blast a duck out of the sky.
Yeah.
And can I tell you how badly I wanted to pop a bullet in the head of the dog? I wanted to shoot that stupid dog every time he'd pop up and laugh at you. And I finally actually got to live that dream when in high school in my programming class, I made Duck Hunt and with a random duck generator and the whole 9 yards. And in order to close the game, you had to shoot the dog in the face. And then it would yell boom headshot and close the game. But beyond that, like, we didn't have very much, and we were really bad at Mario, so we would always end up playing Duck Hunt. And finally I did get fed up with shooting ducks out of the sky in varying palette swaps, and I did get okay at Mario, but then Bruce spilled cola all over his controller and it fried.
Yikes.
I didn't actually end up playing like the games that I love for NES, Mega Man, Zelda, things like that. I didn't actually end up playing until much later. Any success on Josh's audio?
I don't know. Let's see. Blink, do we have audio for Josh? Josh, go ahead and talk for me.
Josh. Oh, that's not very nice. Don't alienate the chat. Nope.
What about now?
We'll just end the show. It's
still
fine.
silent? Are you kidding me? What the hell?
We're pretty much at the end anyway.
Well, we had a couple other things. Oh, it's better now? Okay, we're fixed.
Okay.
We fixed it. Haha, I'm powerful. All right. So, Josh, go ahead and tell me what your first memories again.
It was probably Duck Hunt also, but Mario and Paperboy also.
Yeah.
Paperboy. My buddy had a Duck Hunt, and I thought it was pretty cool too. I like the concept. But Mario, of course, started me off at a young age. But I definitely played the Super Nintendo before I played the NES. I will say. So I definitely played Gen 4 before I played Gen 3. But that's my experience. Yeah, it's weird. I didn't have video games until I was 5. My neighbor got a Super Nintendo.
Yeah. You say that it's so long. I didn't have video games until I was 16.
Okay,
but then I got was pretty late too.
I got an N64 in 1996 when I was 6. So, and I turned 7. So, but before that,
as most people do.
And then I got a Game Boy the same year. I think I can't remember. I got spoiled hard.
Interesting. Yeah, for me, my first Gen 3 experience had to have been over at our friends the Martinez's house, and we sat down and played Ninja Turtles for hours.
So good.
And hours. Just played so much Ninja Turtles. We played some other things too, but I mean Turtles was actually it was Turtles 2. It was the arcade one. But yeah, and we had pizza. I remember it was the first time I had mushrooms on pizza and I didn't like it.
I loved it. Why are you crazy?
I love it now, but I hated mushrooms when I was a kid. I was like, this is disgusting. What are we doing? What are we doing? Where's the pepperoni? We're playing Ninja Turtles. We don't have pepperoni pizza. We got fucking mushrooms. What are
yeah, but if you read the comics, they're always ordering massively bizarre pizzas.
Yeah,
It's
that's
definitely
true.
only
Yeah,
pizza.
yeah, like pepperoni, peanut butter, and anchovies or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah,
Notoriously Michelangelo pizza.
yeah. But regardless, that's my first memory ever. And then later, my friend or our neighbors behind our house, they were like an older couple, but their grandson moved in there, who became like my best friend at the time, Olin, and he had a Nintendo, and we would play tons and tons of Mario 3, which that game. The next question I have, as far as this kind of series is concerned, what console / games held up the best from that generation and why? Dude, Mario 3 holds up the best.
All of them hold up really good.
They
all
do
three
actually
Mario
all
Bros.
hold up really good.
Mario
I
Bros.
agree.
2 is just the black sheep, but Mario Bros. 3 is the king. Yes, look at this.
Mega Man 2. Yeah, that's good.
Mega Man 2
is
I gotta give it to. It was such a late release in the gen.
Mario 3.
Mario Bros. 3 is definitely the best holding up game in that.
Dude,
gen.
like
Link to the
graphically,
Past
mechanically,
really good. Link to the Past is really up there too.
I agree, but I don't think it holds up nearly as well.
Well, it's pretty damn good.
Zach, what'd you say, bud?
Link to the Past is Super Nintendo.
Oh wait, oops,
I think it was.
I meant Zelda. I meant
Yeah,
Zelda.
I think he meant the original Zelda.
I meant the original
yeah,
Zelda.
Yeah, he meant the original
Zelda.
Zelda.
Do I need to prove that one too? I can reach behind
No,
the
we all know. We all just had it. I mean,
And
Josh and I had a collective brain fart.
The
on that
Adventure
one.
of Link had a cult classic following too.
The Adventure of Link, I think, actually holds up better than the first Zelda, but that game is incredibly hard.
First Zelda's like Breath of the Wild with no climbing.
Yeah. Well, Breath of the Wild, we knocked Breath of the Wild a lot for not being very Zelda, but its intention is kind of to be a remake of the original Zelda. Yeah. It's to be like kind of what the original idea for Zelda was going to be. Does that mean the
second one is Adventure of Link?
Dude, yes. That's been hypothesized a lot.
They call it the Adventure of Zelda.
Oh,
maybe.
Wow.
That has been hypothesized a lot.
Zelda?
I'll just watch my mind melt in real time.
Yeah. Breath 2 is definitely not coming out this year.
We'll see.
You think you could get a Surprisio?
I think we'll find out in February whether or not it comes out this year.
We certainly got shafted on the 35th anniversary. But now it's Kirby's 30th anniversary, and we're apparently getting something for that.
We're getting that dope 3D Kirby. That looks awesome, honestly.
On top of that, we're getting more Kirby stuff. So
interesting.
I wouldn't know what it is, but I would like a new Kirby pinball game.
Yeah,
that'd be really cool. But cool. The new 3D Kirby. If it's in this game, the new 3D Kirby game is like the best looking game coming out on the Switch. I think soon.
It looks.
I think
good,
that I want to get that and not RCS. You know what I mean? I think I'm just gonna like.
I want to get them both. I'm cautiously optimistic about RCS, but yeah, I think you're right. I think it might be bad.
I'm scared.
I've been wanting a Pokemon set in the past for so long. Like ever since what's the one Pokemon Conquest, right? That game's dope. Pokemon Conquest is a Pokemon tactical RPG set in the Sengoku period. Yes. And cool. You're the main villain is Nobunaga Oda, and he's got a black Rayquaza, which is badass.
That's sick. Most people have no idea what you just said.
Wildly off topic here.
It is wildly off topic.
Most people in the chat have no clue any word you just said.
Yeah, I know. I was just deep in Pokemon.
Nobunaga Oda has a fucking black Rayquaza. Yeah. Like, what? Who are you?
Yeah, it's this guy. What language is he speaking? I don't know. Anyway, but finishing that thought, ever since then, I've just thought about how cool like a mainline Pokemon would be set in like a pre, our Pokemon knowledge,
It has
like
all the
timeline.
formula. It has the formula to be a cool ass, like the best Pokemon game.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, it could be the best Pokemon game.
Yeah.
But I've seen nothing about this game that shows me anything. It's just the premise of the game is it could be really good.
Yeah, I'm
But
right there with you.
But then like our brains are like, we hear like open world Pokemon, we're like, awesome. And then we see this and we're like, cool, it's still in development. It's going to be great. And then they're like coming out in a week and a half. And we're like, what? This looks exactly like development.
Yeah.
What? Like,
yeah, it's rough. Well, here's another thing.
This actually brings back to our original topic.
Super
and
Game
here's
Boy.
how. I'm holding a Super Game Boy.
Yeah.
It's got my copy of Pokemon Blue version in it, as it always does.
Yeah.
And it begs the question. So if Game Boy synchronizes with Super Nintendo, probably due to hardware stuff, what would Pokemon have looked like in Gen 1? Or in Gen 3, rather?
Ooh.
Pretty similar, I'd say.
Well, think about like the original Dragon Warrior or the original Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
It should have came out in like 88 on the NES. And
that's what I think it would look like in Gen 3.
I think it could have pulled it off. I think it could have done pretty good if it came out late.
Mm-hmm.
Like Final Fantasy, Phantasy Star, like definitely it's achievable for sure.
It's definitely achievable. I would love for someone.
I mean, the Game Boy is an 8-bit system.
Pokemon was an interesting choice even over the Super. Like they could have gone more on the Super. They could have really like fleshed out. Maybe they didn't want to like go too hard, and they wanted like a limitation.
Well, I mean, they were very much testing the waters.
True.
Well, Pokemon also came out after the Super was done.
Yeah.
You know, the 64 was out when Pokemon.
The Nintendo was probably like, "Yo, we want you on console. Like, come on, like the guys, like get on a mainline console." Like, Super Stadium was what Pokemon Snap and Stadium were the first times
exactly
we got on a console, and it's not, and we didn't get a mainline Pokemon game until Sword and Shield.
Yeah,
literally. So on this current gen. We didn't get a mainline. I keep wanting to say Zelda,
Pokemon game. Yeah.
So my question, I would love to see because I mean a lot of people do development work for NES even now. Get cartridges, like limited run games and things like that, and even just little indie publishers. Kickstarter will do. Oh, we'll do a small run of actual NES cartridges of this game, and they'll work. I would love to see someone deconstruct the idea of Pokemon and put it on the NES.
Yeah,
I would love to see that.
I like that.
That would be cool.
Brings us back to the enduring qualities of of that third generation. I think it's the graphics.
Yeah, music,
graphics.
Absolutely, the music,
controls, all of it.
The first time we had a D-pad on a home console was the original NES.
I think it's the first time that the games were truly like immersive. Like you had full control. The D-pad gives you full control. Like interchangeable A/B like gives you full like Mario, for example. This type of platforming was groundbreaking. Mario Bros.
Yeah, vertically scrolling sprites was a brand new thing on the NES.
Even if you can't go back, it's still really good.
Final question, we can wrap it up with this. I do think that obviously Nintendo was the king of this generation. Though Master System, I think, honestly, if they had gotten on the ball sooner, looking at the list of games that they had and what they were able to do, I think there would have been much stiffer competition. But undeniably, Nintendo.
We had a young Shigeru Miyamoto.
Yeah.
This is like Shigeru Miyamoto. He like cracked the egg, and everyone was like looking in the cup, and they're like, "Oh my god, that looks incredible!" And next gen, next week, the Super Nintendo, and they fucking made an omelet, and they're like, "Wow, Nintendo blossoms now."
Looking at this generation, though,
run for the throne.
I'm gonna stick a fork in that omelet and say. I think Super Nintendo was scrambled eggs. Admittedly, just as delicious as an omelet, but a little bit rough around the edges.
You think? You think it was not well received initially?
No.
We'll find out next week.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that next week. That's controversial. But Anyway, final question here, guys. And Zach, you can start us out with this one. What would you say the overall influence of this generation was?
This is where we have so many like established characters, established motifs, even genre started at this point.
Donkey Kong, Mario, Zelda, Metroid, Mega Man, Sonic. It's insane how much was made in
Final
this gen.
Final
Fantasy, everything established.
It was proven in Generation 3 that games had life, had a purpose, and had a variety enough to entrance the general public and work. IP games were not new. Obviously, the Atari 2600 had E.T. for crying out loud, which is definitely an IP
Indiana
game.
Jones.
Indiana Jones. I think there was a Superman game even. And Commodore 64 had Batman. I'm living proof of that. But this is the generation that showed us where games needed to be in order to push forward. Rather than just mass produce a bunch of crap.
I agree.
So if there was any generation that has a stronger longevity influence, I'll eat my shorts. I really don't think it exists. I think what we'll find out next week is Josh is absolutely correct. Super Nintendo is like the gold standard. But as with any generation, I think we'll find that it just does not have the longevity and the influence overall that the generation.
Josh, how about you, man? What do you think the overall influence of this?
Overall influence, Nintendo, baby. It establishes itself as the grandfather, the father. Right now, it's a young dad making as much money as possible and bringing home the bacon for everyone at the table. And it's doing so in a way that every other company wanting in on this industry steps back and admires and looks for advice, basically, and looks for what to do next from Nintendo. Their characters are established. They're making games that they know they can make a sequel to. They're making stories and intricate worlds. These games are bigger than like sure, Mario is basic, but the world is beyond that. Shigeru Miyamoto literally created this like world, these characters that matter and can be done again and again. That's why we keep seeing the same games. It's not just because they work, but it's because like that was the intention. It's to like make these worlds that they just want us to play these games. Even if it's like just these 5 genres, that's what they want from us. I want to play those.
It takes a lot of influence from the comic book industry. This was the time period in which you get all those, X-Men crossover things, these long, even, Daredevil had Frank Miller at the time, and with these long episodic interconnected storylines. And I do think that on some level, video games was watching that.
And video games took a good lesson. Nintendo learned a lot, and they established themselves as the idol, the thing to look at in order to succeed in this industry.
I agree with you guys. I think the biggest thing that that this generation showed us that we could do was do more than just make arcade games. More than just ports of things that are designed to suck your money away. You can go out and purchase something that's designed for you to enjoy. Sure, they're doing it for money, but like it's not something that that is just something that's going to put you through this repetitive loop that's designed for you not to succeed. We started to see games that were designed to be finished.
Exactly.
And I think that was huge. And like even when you compare like the NES to the 7800, right? The design philosophies are completely different. Atari was still stuck in that let's just reproduce arcade games, whereas Nintendo was like, let's give you a story. Let's give you a beginning and a middle and an end.
World.
And exactly.
By giving you more information.
And I think that's what saved video games.
I think Nintendo saved video games.
Nintendo saved video games.
I think we will see that they continue to when we reach our current generation. Discuss that.
That's going to be an interesting episode, but that's fair enough.
I think they weren't for a while, but I think they are still the gold standard. Is the word? That's the term.
I think Nintendo is
good game.
is keeping couch gaming alive, which is important. I don't think they're doing much to drive the industry forward as far as like obviously not technology. Maybe innovation here and there, but what they really do keep a focus on is games that you can play on your couch with your friends and your family, and they want it to be a system for everyone.
On the go.
Yeah, and on the go. Yeah, so.
Exactly.
Anyway, it was a good episode. Let's wrap it up. Maybe next week we'll finally have a show where we don't have crazy audio issues. Cross our fingers. At least I'm getting better at fixing them quickly. But if you're watching this right now and we're live, you're watching it on my Twitch channel. I stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I haven't started my Thursdays up again yet, but I will.
Say the word.
Yep. And I typically do, on Tuesdays, it'll be whatever game I'm currently progressing through. Right now, we're doing Dark Souls 1 remastered. And on Thursdays, it's usually one of my more gimmicky series like Brawler Bros, which my brother's not been available for that recently. Zach has definitely offered his services, and we would love to have him. And then if I don't do that, I'll just, do something else. We'll do Soulsmates or something, whatever. But Saturdays, we always stream a samurai game. It's Samurai Saturday, so we must. Right now, I'm streaming a game called Okami, which is not really a samurai game, but it's certainly samurai adjacent. It's all based in Japanese mythology, so that's really cool. And then, of course, we're back here every Sunday night for the podcast. So look forward to that. If you're watching this on YouTube, please share it. That helps us out a lot. And if you want to yell at me on Twitter, please go ahead. It's right down there at Ryugami-sama. You can do that. So, Josh, where can we find you, my guy?
Yes, find me at Lord Yeshua and Lord Yeshua TTV on all the things. And I don't know, whenever I stream, it's just kind of random. That's it. Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong.
Donkey Kong. Do you want me to see me? I don't know. Kirby,
we might be
maybe?
seeing a new Donkey Kong soon.
It's the rumor. The rumor is that
rumor's been going on since last summer.
Here's the big new juice rumor.
Yeah.
Is that it is a 3D made game, but could potentially be a 2D platformer. So that's exactly what we already got. So if it ended up being a 3D Donkey Kong, I will be disappointed. I want a side scroller. I want Donkey Kong not to change.
I would like 3D Donkey Kong. I think they could do it well now.
No one is gonna argue, and I'm gonna get it. But it's like, I don't want to play another adventure game with Donkey Kong. Like, to me, the point is I'd rather get a Tropical Freeze 2.
What if we get the Metroid whatever
Red?
No, what are the 3D ones? Prime. What if we get the Metroid Prime of Donkey Kong?
Donkey Kong Prime.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like the whole.
What I mean?
Yeah.
Like no one thought.
It just takes something away from me. It's different. Yeah. But yeah, no, I would like that. I would still enjoy it. I'm not saying I wouldn't enjoy it. I would love that. They're already confirmed Mario Kart 9. Very cool.
Yep.
Very excited about that. I wouldn't be surprised if we got a Mario game.
Mario Kart 9 is one of the things that makes me feel like Nintendo is gearing up for a new system, but waiting for this chip shortage to play out.
Yeah.
Because when have they ever released more than one Mario Kart game on a console?
Well, they didn't release a Mario Kart game on this console. It was released on the Wii U.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, but Zach, where can we find you, man?
Support.
At Another Letdown. I'll be live Wednesday night with my buddy Alex playing Gears Tactics on Zach and Alex Gear Up. I believe, as far as I know, we'll be doing a Tabletop Simulator board games on Friday, probably Mansions of Madness, depending on how many people we can get together. And then Saturday, I did the base coating on some X-Men characters for my minis painting show, Watching Paint Dry.
Beautiful.
And we will be working on those. That's me and my friend Mike, and hopefully Adam's feeling better and he can join us, but we'll see. I'm on Twitter at DENONCZD and youtube.com/another letdown CF.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, thanks once again for joining. Don't forget to join the Discord. The link's in the chat there. We have a lot of fun there. Have silly conversations. Yeah, it's good. Anyway, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks again.
Okay.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.